Okay, we're back. Midwest Hockey Info. This is our latest pro show. And I want to start it off by bringing you up to date. My colleague Trent Barney, thank you for letting us use your studio. It's so great. I mean, it's nice that we have a professional studio now.
Yep.
And I wanted to bring everybody up to date. Trent and I did make a little wager in the Detroit Red Wings version of our predictions last week.
And this is high stakes.
High stakes.
High stakes.
So we'll just say what the other one has to do. What is that in the corner? Are we still going?
Yep.
Okay. I thought we were having some technical difficulties. So we will say what each other is going to do. And I will say if Jimmy Howard starts on Friday night for the Detroit Red Wings in their first game of the season, Trent has to hold a sign honoring his favorite player, Sid Crosby. It's going to say, Sid is great. Isn't that what we said?
Yep.
And he has to start every sentence he says in the next pro show after that by saying, Sid is great. And if he doesn't, there will be a penalty. So you can...
And if Peter Mrazek starts, which I really hope he does, because I really don't want to say that. Jimmy D here, big Maple Leafs fan, he will have to wear his Montreal Canadiens hat for the next show and say, I love the Habs to start every sentence.
Okay, I love the Habs. Okay, yeah, those words are just going to slide right out of my mouth. I'm really hoping Jimmy Howard starts. So we are ready to go into a new season here in the NHL, beginning Wednesday night. This is Monday, as we're making this right now, and Tuesday by the time you see it. So you're one day away from seeing your defending Stanley Cup champions head into a new season. They'll be one of, I think, 4 games on the NHL's opening night, hosting the New York Rangers, and of course all the festivities that go with defending Stanley Cup champion, raising the banner. It'll be a long ceremony, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting game.
And the poor Rangers are going to have to stand there and watch it.
Yeah, but the Rangers are going to be a good team this year.
They really are, yeah.
That should be a good game to start the season.
Yeah, and a lot of new faces on the Chicago team, more than people are probably used to seeing. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We're going to talk in a minute about where we think things are going to shake out, but definitely this Chicago team is going to be the team to beat once again, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be the only Midwest team that gets involved on that first night. The following night, Thursday, the Blues will open their season against Connor McDavid. They're going to be hosting the Edmonton Oilers. That's a team that everybody's been talking about all summer, and the St. Louis Blues are going to host them on opening night. So that should be an interesting game right there. The St. Louis Blues trying to stay on top of their perch.
Yeah.
The other game, Minnesota, I think a team has become a real rival for them. The Colorado team. The Wild will be in Colorado, and I think they started last season the same way. So that's a pretty interesting rivalry game right there as well.
Yeah, I think those could be 2 pretty exciting games, especially the regular season debut of Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Kind of added bonus there.
Absolutely. And then the game that we have our wager on is one of 3 on Friday night involving Midwest-based teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs will open their season a couple of nights earlier, but then they will be at the Joe Louis to face the Detroit Red Wings Friday night. I'm not sure how many new faces the Red Wings are going to have, but there's still some big decisions to be made in camp, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and
Dylan Larkin's actually going to be starting.
He is going to start that first game.
Yep.
Is he the only rookie?
I didn't get a chance to go through.
Okay. So it will be interesting. A lot of new faces, new coach.
Yep.
The old coach and the opposition bench.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how the reaction is going to be to that. That's going to be interesting. And then the other team from the Midwest, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they will also open their season on Friday on home ice against the same New York Rangers that are in Chicago tomorrow night. And the Chicago Blackhawks will also play their first game in New York against the Islanders. So that is just the first sort of lead-in games for the Midwest. We'll try to update you hopefully before the weekend to let you know how things are going and what's happened with all these teams. Just quickly, the American Hockey League will open their season also Friday. Lake Erie at Rochester, Grand Rapids and Rockford both making the trip to the West Coast to start the year. Grand Rapids will be in Bakersfield, Rockford at San Jose. Milwaukee will be at Chicago Saturday night. Charlotte will be in Iowa, so that'll be the starting teams for all the Midwest AHL teams. ECHL and SPHL, the Peoria Rivermen, will be a couple of weeks down the road. So let's take a quick look and make some quick predictions here. We'll start with the main division for the Midwest. The Central, I believe, or no, it's called the, it's still called the Central. Nashville, I think, led the division last year. St. Louis was near the top. Chicago, Minnesota, Winnipeg, all made the playoffs. And I want to say another team too might have. But Colorado's there. This is maybe the toughest division in the NHL. How do you see things shaping up there?
I think it's going to be hard for someone to dethrone the Blackhawks. I think they're definitely going to be making the playoffs. I would say, last year they weren't so strong entering the playoffs, but I expect them to have kind of a bounce back year in the regular season. I'm going to go ahead and say they're going to finish number one.
Yeah, I'm not so sure because Chicago, and I think that they have a lot of talent. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did finish number one. But they somehow seem to save things for the playoffs. They haven't really challenged for the regular season, like for the top of the division in the regular season. They could. I mean, they definitely, if they could get together and play 82 games, they could. I still like St. Louis to be on top of that division. I think Nashville was near the top last year. I do think they're going to falter a little bit. Minnesota, they're definitely going to be in. So the three Midwest teams are going to be in, but there's other teams like Colorado, Nashville, they're going to threaten. I think last year they had both wild cards, and there's a good chance they will again. And I'm missing a couple teams who are escaping me, but those five, I think, are going to be battling it out once again.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go ahead and say St. Louis is going to finish number two, wrapping up that second spot right there behind the Blackhawks. And then I'm going to say the Minnesota Wild finish at number 4.
With Nashville 3.
Yeah. And then
so that's similar to last year, except Nashville's going to slide down a bit then in Europe.
Yeah, and I think that first series is going to be Chicago versus Minnesota.
Oh, they're going to love it in Minneapolis.
Look forward to that, Wild fans.
If you want to get to the Cup, Minnesota, you're going to have to beat the Hawks.
At some point. I'm here rooting for you.
So the other two teams are in the East Conference. Columbus is in the Atlantic Conference, which I think is I keep predicting they're going to do well, but now I look at that conference, and it's going to be a dogfight. Pittsburgh got better. The Rangers are.
The Rangers.
They're equally as good. Islanders are going to be better. Washington is definitely going to be better. So I've just named 3 teams. I think 4 teams. Columbus is going to be in the mix. Last year they fell out because of injuries early in the season. And I think it is imperative, once again, that they stay healthy, in particular, obviously, Bobrovsky. He was a key last year, and I think, when they missed him whenever he was out. And I think it's, I don't know if he can play 82 games, but, they really want him to carry a heavy load, and if he can stay healthy, they can challenge. Philadelphia, Carolina, missing one, but don't see them as being ready yet to challenge those top 5 teams. I've been a backer of Columbus for the last couple seasons because I love the way they put that team together, and I'm hoping they can get back to the postseason.
Yeah, I'm thinking with the Blue Jackets, like you said, it's going to be a tough division for them to make the top 4. I'm going to say they either sneak in there at number 4, or because of the way the playoff system is set up now, that they actually switch to the Metropolitan Division and play that number 4 spot there.
So you see them basically as a really top contender for a wild card.
Yeah, I see them definitely trying to sneak in there for a wild card position.
Yeah.
And then, as far as the Red Wings go, you know, I know that there's been some, like, oh no, Babcock left, new coach, and do we have those superstars that are going to step up? But I feel like there's been too much unnecessary panic when all of a sudden you add Richards and Green, and now I'm looking at this team, and it's hard to make a spot. And going into the preseason, you got all these young players putting up points against, you know, starting NHL rosters, and they're putting up points on the board. So even though they've dealt with injuries in the past, they now have so much depth on that team that even if they have to deal with some injuries, like we said, Larkin's going to be playing, at least for a little while anyways. You know, I think I'm going to go ahead and say Detroit. I know I'm a Red Wings fan, but I'm kind of thinking number 1.
Yeah.
You know, great goalie tandem. If they decide to keep both of those goalies, man, they would have one of the strongest goalie duos in the NHL, and pretty good defense, and 4 deep offensive lines.
Yeah.
So,
I actually really agree. I mean, I was thinking of that on the way over here. You know, every division has gotten better. You know, we didn't talk about the Pacific because they're not involved, but, you know, every division you can make a case, well, this team's better, this team's better, this team's better. The Northeast Division, to me, on paper, is just not as good. I see 3 teams.
Yeah, 3 teams.
I see the Red Wings, the Lightning, and the Habs, you know, really battling it out for those top 3 spots. If Ottawa can grab a wild card, good for them. They did really come on at the end of last season. But like we said, we've already talked about Columbus and you know, the teams in the other division. It's going to be hard, but I do believe that those 3 will be the top 3. And I think if they can stay healthy, and they're not healthy going into the year, so, you know, it's the same old in Detroit. But if they can mostly keep everybody healthy through the season, I predict that they'll win that division. And I hope Helm comes back and shines, because I took him with my last pick in the draft last night. So I guess that's it. That's our predictions for the NHL. Start the season, drop the puck. Trent is pumped. The Red Wings are in action on Friday night, but they're going to lose. They're going to play the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're going to lose, probably in overtime. So that's unfortunate, but, you know, there's still going to be 81 games to go, Trent.
No, that's all right, Jim. That's all right. I know there's been many brutal years as a Maple Leafs fan, but I'm going to tell you, it's not going to get any better this year. Stay classy, Midwest.